Hello everyone, and I'm very, very happy to have with me a proud Damsonian, Dr.Rajat R. He's secured an amazing rank 5 in NEETPG 2019. Heartiest congratulations, Rajat.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
I feel very good. Like initially I was not expecting that I would get such a good rank, but after seeing the result, I cross-checked the result like twice or thrice with my same roll number, because this time it was only displayed like the number and the rank.
That's right.
There was no name. Like before you tell anybody, like you have to be sure that you have really actually achieved that. Otherwise it become like
That's
problem,
true.
yeah.
So you couldn't believe, right?
Yeah, I was not expecting. I was knowing that I had done very well, but I was not expecting such a rank, because
Yes, because this is amazing. It is among 1.5 lakh people, and this is a great achievement. So heartiest congratulations on your achievement.
Thank you, ma'am.
Rajat has been a satellite test and discussion student with us from the Mysore Center. And he's been doing well in the other exams as well. Yes. So, Rajat, first of all, I would want you to, sort of talk about how your experience has been on the satellite classes.
I joined DAMS TND after my internship in the month of March. Initially, I was not very much oriented towards PG coaching institutions, so I didn't join in my pre-final year or final year.
Okay.
But what I would suggest is that it is better that if anybody joins the coaching institute at during the third year or pre-final year, it is better, because you don't have to have this 1 year of hardship in between.
I can understand.
Like it can go on very smoothly. You'll not be in any tension, because just after your internship you can easily crack an exam if you started from your third year or pre-final year. So I would suggest that if anybody wants to do it very well, it is the best time to join is like in your third year or pre-final year, because that time you'll be relatively free, and you can easily crack the exam. But after joining DAMS TND in March of last year, there was a schedule in TND. The best part is that they give a schedule.
Right.
Every week we have an exam, which is followed by a discussion, and they even announce the next schedule beforehand so that we can read about it. Like what I used to do is, after the exams, I used to go back and look at what are the things that I've done wrong and revise the subject.
Okay.
And the last 3 days before the previous exam, I used to study that. Okay. And before that, I used to study some other subject, which I felt like I wanted to study, or which I was weak in.
Right.
Yeah. In that way, it helps a lot.
Okay. And since you were doing the satellite course, right? How what would you want to say about the satellite class that was held?
Satellite classes are very good. Not everybody can attend live classes.
Yes.
In this, it's very far, and you have to travel a lot. It saves a lot of time, and I don't find there is any difference between live classes and satellite classes, because all the faculty put in the same amount of effort.
Yes, the papers are same, and the faculty is also the same.
And whether it is live or satellite, there is no any big difference, because all the faculties teach the same way, whether it is live class or satellite
face to face or a satellite.
And even in satellite classes, you can ask your doubts by typing it in the keyboard, and this faculty immediately replies to your doubt. So I don't think there is a much difference. It is, in fact, actually saves time. Saves a lot of time, and it's a very good option.
Yes.
For people who are like willing to go for a TND.
So next, I would like to, since you have done very well, and I think you are in the right position to assess as well, can you please tell me about the quality of the test papers? Do you think that the kind of test papers we made helped you crack the central institutes as well as NEET with such a great rank?
Yeah, the quality of test papers is very good, and the more important thing is the discussion that follows the test paper, and not actually the test paper, because the test paper only contains some questions of some selected topics, but during the discussion, the faculty members talk about related topics, what are the different questions asked from the topic in the recent years. Then you come to know what are the high yield topics, like what are the things that you have to read. And the best thing is the short notes that you get from the TND. It's a very high yielding notes. You can just read that a couple of days before the exams when you're in your revision mode, and no need to read all the so much of stuff will be present for you to study. But it's like it has a lot of concise material in a very good format. It's very good for revision in the last couple of days. You can do it very well.
Right, because I think it'll have all the most likelihood questions to be asked and things related to them. So it turns out to be concise but yet high yielding.
Yeah, because if you read some other stuff, there are there is no end to reading. You can read whatever you want.
That's right.
But the thing is, you should read what is right and what is required, because no exams tests what is rarely asked. They always tend to repeat topics and ask from the related stuff only.
Right.
So your T&D notes will have all the all the information which is high yield, which was recently asked in the exams. So you kind of know what to read, and in the last moment when there is so much shortage of time, you won't have time to read all the stuff. So just stick on to what is given in the T&D notes and some related stuff, because all of them are high yielding. They'll cover all the topics, and if you revise them, it will be very good in the last couple of weeks before the exams. These are the things to do,
right?
Because many students, like, they tend to read a lot of other stuff which
that's
not
right,
required, because
and then you keep accumulating more things, and then
what matters is not how much you read, like the way you read and what is the important things that you read, especially during the last couple of weeks, because many people feel I have read almost everything, like there is nothing else to read now. This is the dilemma that people face. So the thing is, just stick on to some high yielding points during the last couple of weeks and be calm and just revise it. That is the way.
I think that's a very, very vital piece of information coming from a topper, and you have to know how to sort of limit your things but yet do well, and so that you can revise it multiple times. And now, Rajat, I would also want to ask you that there were a lot of online tests as well with the test and discussion course, with video discussions as well. Do you think that those were useful for you?
Yeah, ma'am, I have given all the grant tests and all the subject-wise tests. At least how much ever it was possible from my side during the time that limited time that I've got. And what I used to do is I used to listen to the video lectures. Like there is nowadays the tests come with a video, not a video, like audio format. They just all the teachers discuss it in a. Rather than going to the explanations myself, I used to just go to the audios, and there is an option of even increasing the speed of the audio. That is a very good thing. Like if you feel that it is taking a lot of time, you can just do it like 1.2x or 1.3x.
Yes, because I feel that it is very important that you learn the approach to the MCQ rather than just the answer, because these days they don't repeat questions. It will be probably a topic and they would ask something about it. So it's very important that if options change, students have to learn the approach so that they can rule out the options.
Yeah, in that way, the only the solution part, I used to only listen to the audio of the solutions. I used to never go and read all the explanations, because it takes a lot of time.
That's true.
And in the audio itself, the faculty members tell you like what are the important points. Apart from this, like in Ops and Gynae used to tell, like if PH used to come, used to tell like apart from this incidents, this was asked, this stuff was asked. Then no need to go back again to the explanations and read it.
Exactly.
Because if once you listen to someone, I feel like you will remember it better than reading your explanations yourself.
Yes. And also I would like to ask you, Rajat, that, you know, how important do you think is giving a GT, which is a mixed paper? It is going to have all questions from different subjects, and to sit for 3 hours and, you know, learn to give the, have the concentration for those 3 hours.
Practicing grant test is a very important thing before you appear for any exam, because you get that mentality of the exam, how to approach an exam. Because if you just read, you will not get that solving ability of MCQs. What I feel is like you should read how much is required, then you should to invest a lot of time in solving MCQs. Because the more you solve MCQs, you will get oriented more how to minimize the wrong options and how to get to the right options. This you will develop only if you solve more and more MCQs. And hence giving grant tests is very good, and you can see your improvement in the grant tests. As you give more and more grant tests, finally you will your ranks will improve, and you will realize that you are in the right path and you are going to get a very good rank in the exam.
Perfect. So this is what I was actually going to come to next. You know, a lot of students, Rajat, might be giving the grant test, but then they would message or write, you know, that they're not able to increase their score. They're stuck at, let's say, 150 correct questions. So how did you manage to keep improving your score progressively in the grant tests?
First you write a grant test, then you look at the scores, then after the grant test there is a solution wherein they give you everything, like how much you have got wrong, which subjects are you weak in.
Right, we give a detailed analysis.
Detailed analysis is given there, wherein from that you can come to know which are the subjects that you are strong in and which are the subjects that you are weak in.
Right.
Just focus on what are the subjects that you are weak in. If you are getting in a subject around 60% correct, then it is a very good marks. it doesn't depend on your overall rank, how much you have
Yes.
scored in the exam, because the exam contains questions from all the subjects.
That's true.
You should just read in such a way that you get around 60% correct in all the subjects, because that would fetch you good marks rather than getting around 90% in say forensic medicine or
Yes.
getting in an
And I
ENT
think the
or some
total number of
subjects.
correct
Yeah.
questions is more important.
Yeah, it depends on how much, like overall how you perform is more important rather
Yes.
than few subjects.
Absolutely.
Because
NEET में सब कुछ आने वाला है.
everything counts, but you can give a more weightage on subjects like obstetrics and
Okay.
PSM, because they carry a lot of
Yes, that's
questions.
true.
More questions come from this
30
subjects.
plus questions in NEET, I think.
This time PSM and obstetrics were given a lot of weightage.
Yes. And so did you sort of, after giving grand test and subject test and your TND paper, did you sort of make a list of every subject of which subtopics you should be doing towards the end or revising?
Yes, ma'am. I made a list of important things which are
Okay.
asked. It depends on the exams. A few exams tend to ask the same topics again and again. Particularly for exams like AIMS, they tend to repeat the same topics again. And especially the DVT session was very helpful. Lot
Right.
of questions came from that. During the past few days, I just revised all the DVT slides, and many questions actually came from that. So it is important that you revise what is high yield in the last few days before the exams.
Exactly. And now if I talk about, the TND and the exam, once you finish your course with TND with us, then how did you plan your revision from then until maybe let's say CBT, and then from CBT until the main exam?
The CBT was in September, I
Right.
think, and before that I tried to finish. After the tests, I used to give 2 days for the same test for the
Okay.
same subject which was discussed,
Okay.
and after that I used to start reading the next subject.
All right.
Only after when the if Wednesday was the obstetrics day, then I used to only start from Sunday reading obstetrics. But before that, I used to read some other subject,
Okay.
which I felt I was weak in.
Weekend, right.
Then after that, I attended a test. After that, I used to again go through the notes which was given in the test. Then assess where I have done wrong, like
Okay.
why did I do it wrong. Then again consolidate those things, and then go back and study a next subject,
Okay.
and then again repeat the same schedule. By
Right.
this, you can complete all the things by the end of August. If you complete everything by end of August,
Okay.
it is end of August. It is very good. Then you can give two more revisions,
Right.
and then you will be very good like for the exams.
Also, Rajat, I would want to ask Pache that, did your subsequent readings from first compared to second and second compared to third, did you reduce the time you were taking to revise each subject?
Yes, when after you revise once, then the next time that you revise, it takes a very short time.
Yes. And how do you ensure that? Because a lot of students would again start from the first line and the first page, and that's the problem. So they're taking still 15 days to do the subject as they were taking in the first reading, which I think is not revision. It is actually rereading.
The thing is, you should know what you know. If you
Right.
already know a topic, then don't read the topic. Go only for stuff which are very volatile,
Absolutely.
like staging of
Or
cancers.
where you're doing wrongs.
Yeah,
Yes.
like staging of cancers or some name classifications.
That's right.
Those are the things that you usually forget. But if your concepts are very good, don't read those things again. Like there are some things which you will be knowing. Then no point in reading that again and again. You should only analyze which are the areas that you're tending to forget, and you should try to read those things again and again. And in a subsequent revisions, you should always consolidate, like these are the topics that I already know of, then no need to read them, but these are the topics that I'm weak in, then I have to, you can make a list of topics which you tend to keep forgetting, and then you can just revise those, because after your 2 revisions you'll come to know which are the topics
you are weak in, or probably are forgetting again and again.
And even in the grand tests, when you analyze, if you're getting those questions correct from those topics, it means that you already remember them.
Right. So no point doing them
Yeah,
again
there
and
is
again.
no point in again reading those again and again.
And also, there is another problem, or I think problem that the students face, that sometimes they give overwhelmingly long time to subjects like medicine and surgery, and forgetting that all 19 subjects would be asked in the exam, and they have a very particular weightage. So what would your comment be there?
According to me, first year exams, first year subjects and second year subjects are given, you should give more importance, because final year subjects everybody knows about them, because all of them have recently just passed their final profs, and all of them know about all the final year subjects. But first year and second year are the subjects which people tend to forget, because it is a long time since you have read them, and you tend to forget them, and they are the subjects which actually decide your rank. Because if you know a lot of medicine, surgery, the number of questions that you're going to get correct is the same, because all of them will be knowing them.
Right.
But in subjects like forensic or biochemistry, anatomy, physiology, not many members will know the answers for the questions. So it is better that you focus on those first and second year subjects
Yes.
initially, and
Yes.
you become good at them.
Very
Then you
nice.
can move on to subjects like medicine and surgery, because even if you are like slightly better also, you can answer around
Most
50,
of the
most of the
questions,
questions you
yes.
can answer.
Yes, that's
but
true.
it is not the same for first year subjects, because it requires reading. It requires that you spend a lot of time on them.
Yes, I agree. And they are also given quite a lot of weightage. Even in AIMS and in NEET, there are a good set of questions that you get from the basic sciences as well.
Yeah, ma'am, that is the important thing. First year subjects and second year subjects, especially, they are very high yielding. You
And
have
along
to-
with it, yes, PSM and Ops
Yeah,
and Gynae,
PSM and
because
Ops Gynae,
again in AIMS and in NEET,
yeah.
there is a lot of weightage to these subjects. Right. And now, I would want to also ask you that this year we conducted CBT in the same pattern as NEET, dividing it into Part A, Part B and Part C. So how was your experience with the CBT? What was your rank?
Ma'am, I had written first CBT. I was ranked 17 in the first CBT.
Wonderful.
And I think CBT is a very good, it mirrors the actual exam, because
Yes.
a lot of people compete. It depends on number of people who compete in the exam, because all of them who are scoring well, obviously they'll compete in the final exam.
That's true.
And if you're getting a good rank among them, it obviously means that you are going to get a good rank in the
So it
final
gives you a
exam
positive
also.
reinforcement.
Yeah, it will give you a positive thing, because
Yeah.
they are only the competitors who are going to write the real exam also.
Absolutely. And do you, and after the CBT, there was about a month and a half between CBT and the main exam.
Yeah.
So did you sort of after CBT realize what you should be doing now and focusing
Yeah,
on?
I realized, like, after my CBT, I saw which subjects I used to make a lot of mistakes in. Like, for me, especially PSM was one subject where I
Okay.
used to make a lot of mistakes.
But I think you very well corrected it, because otherwise it's not possible to get a rank
Yeah.
5.
Then I saw a lot of, I used to spend more time on PSM.
Okay.
And I also, in the grand tests, and specifically, I used to only see PSM
Okay.
stuff, related stuff. So that I used to...
So
I
you
used-
targeted your
yeah.
weak zones.
Yeah, I used to, and especially sir used to, in the audio lectures, he used to explain it very nicely. I used to like it. So
Okay.
it is better. It is always important that you identify which are the subject that you are weak in.
Right. And focus them.
Yeah.
And then what should you be doing just close to the exam? Say, let's say 15 days close to the exam. What is the revision strategy then?
15 days before the exam, just focus on, you would have by that time known what are the topics that are going to be asked, and which are very volatile for you. And also for some exams, you can do previous year's papers. Everything is available in the eMedicos app.
Yes.
This time they're like all the previous questions with even
Answers and
explanations.
explanations, and
they're very,
sometimes even videos.
and they're very reliable.
Yeah.
Like nowadays in books you get a lot of different answers. You'll be like students are confused. What is the
Because
correct answer?
they will
Yeah.
actually change the question to suit a answer, and they will change.
Even the questions are not very reliable,
Yes.
and students are a lot of time confused that is it the correct answer.
Right.
And it becomes a big problem if you do a repeat wrong in the exam, because everybody gets it correct.
That's true.
And I think eMedicos app, the discussion is very genuine, and you can trust those answers.
Yes.
And in that way it is very helpful. So just do those topics that you find volatile, and previous year questions you have to like take
Focus.
a look at, at least take a look at them.
And do you think last 3 years is good enough?
Yes, ma'am. Last 3 years is enough.
So it's not required to go actually to past decade and
Yeah,
do.
that no need to go back that
Yeah,
long, because
yeah.
they are not going to ask from that.
Yes.
All the questions that have been asked are only from the last 3 years, because last 3 years for central institutes it becomes 6 papers, and
Yes.
more than enough.
That's quite a lot
yeah,
by itself.
Yeah, and they're asking only from repeated topics.
Yes.
Even if you read a lot of other questions, they're not gonna come anywhere.
Right. And now I go on to the exam strategy. So first, I would want to ask you, how many questions did you attempt?
I attempted 296 questions this
Wow,
time.
That's great. And I think you've hit a lot of correct answers.
Yeah, I think around 250 plus. will
Wow,
be correct this time.
that's great. And would you want to comment something about Part A, Part B, and Part C?
I followed the usual I go from question 1, then
Okay.
I usually, that is the way I have attempted all the exams.
Right.
And if you don't know anything, just leave it and then move on to the next part, and then go on, and then after you finish everything, come back once more and then revisit those questions that you have a doubt in. But I
Right.
feel that if you have a doubt between two options, it is better to mark something and go on to the next, because many times you may not get the time to come back
and review.
review
and you do
the
tend to
thing.
do it incorrect as well if you review too much.
But I think that if you feel that this is the answer, just mark it and move on.
Go with the instinct.
Go with the instinct, because it will usually be correct.
Right.
And if you think that I'm going to leave this and then come back again and do it, it is not going to happen, because sometimes time is a very big crunch this time. In exams also, many students felt that this time it was very lengthy paper and they didn't have the time to finish it.
Right. And I think this time the visuals were only restricted to part C, which was the clinical. Again, do you think that the visuals there and the DVT was helpful in solving the visuals for the NEET as well?
Yeah, ma'am, DVT was very good, and this time visuals were mainly from anatomy, and radiology had a lot of visuals this time. And obviously in the DVT, the slides and the related material was only asked.
Yes.
So if you had revised them properly, you would have got most of them correct.
Right. And now anything, if since you are a top ranker and you've got an amazing rank 5, if I ask you if your juniors want to know what would be the 3 most important ingredients to get a good rank in the NEET exam, what would those be?
I think test and discussion one has to join, because it is very good. You have to give a lot of grand tests and subject wise tests, and more than that you have to listen to after you give the test, if you have time, listen to the audios which the teachers, because it is a very important thing that many people give tests and they don't even bother what is the answers,
and that doesn't help them.
That doesn't help. And one more and the last thing is previous years, just have a look at those previous years papers, and
which you said last 3 years is good enough.
And DVT is also very helpful. It is better that you attend that, and it is helpful for last minute revision, because it contains only high yield stuff. Right. And you won't have time to read all the materials. You can just open your mobile and swipe through and look at all the slides.
That's right. And anything motivating that you want to say to your juniors, and they aspire to be like you and be in your place?
I would say that this is everybody feels sad during this part of 1 year. It is a tough job for everyone.
Right.
It is not that some people are better off and others are bad, or everybody goes through the same thing, but you have to realize that at the end of the day you have to put your effort. That's all. At that day's effort, if you put and if you follow it up daily, then you are definitely going to get a good rank.
So persistence is the key.
You have to be persistent, and you have to be happy with what you do.
I think that is the key word.
Many people take it like they're doing it because they're being imposed on that thing, but it is not like that. You should just be happy with what you're doing.
I think when you're happy and you're doing it, I think the outcome usually tends to be good, because you're doing it with full heart. Yeah,
if you're happy and if you're reading it, then it becomes very easier, rather than if you do it if somebody is being imposed on something is being imposed on you. It is not like that.
Right.
It is, everybody is going through the same thing. Just have a schedule, read for some time, relax for some time, then follow it again and again, then finally you will be able to do it.
Great. I think that is a very, very nice advice, and it's a very genuine advice, and I feel it works. And it was a pleasure to have you here, Rajat, and I am sure your video is going to be very it would be good for your juniors, because you've given a lot of information in it and how to go about it in detail. So
thank you,
I wish you all the very best for a very bright future ahead.
Thank you,
and may you be a great doctor. Thank you so much for being with us here.
Thank you, ma'am.